This week's episode of One of a Kind with RVD is presented by Get Blitzed. That's get-blitz.com. Get Blitz Let's Aid is nano-infused THC syrup, and it is a premium cannabis-infused syrup formulated with nanotechnology for fast-acting effects. And you can get 15% off your order when you head to get-blitz.com and use promo code RVD. Get 15% off. Head to get-blitz.com, promo code RVD, 15% off. It's one of a kind, baby.
Robbie down! The whole effing show! Robbie down! The whole effing show! Van Dominator! Van Terminator! Van Crushinator! Van Assassinator!
What's up, guys? It's Dominic DeAngelo, OneTrueSport.com, TV.com too, as well. But I'm here on Rob Van Dam's YouTube channel at The Real RVD, and also we are live on his Twitter. It's Rob Van Dam, guys. Can you believe it? Rob, looking good, man. What a weekend it's been. Happy Father's Day.
Thank you. Happy Father's Day to you too. Buongiorno.
Buongiorno. Mi amici. We're live. And we got a good amount of people already in the chat, over 100 folks. People ready to tune in. Guys.
Over 100, that's 3 digits, bro.
Man, I can't believe
Insane.
that. I don't think I can count that high even.
Did you go, are we on Twitter live too? Or
Yep.
X live, I mean?
We're on X Live. We're on your YouTube channel. And then we're on the One True Sport TV too. One True Sport. Yes, OneTrueSportTV.com. I got to get used to saying that.
I wonder how long we can call it Twitter till it's till we're behind times. You know, it's like at New Year's, you always forget you're allowed till like February to keep writing the wrong year at the end of your paperwork and shit.
Or I tend to wish people a happy new year, like at least maybe a month after it's over, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I like to keep that going. Dude, it's a good feel kind of greeting to somebody, you know, you just see him, hey, happy new year. It's like you're really saying, man, I'm wishing you a lot of enjoyment at this time in your life, man.
Yeah.
It's really a good thing to have to say to somebody. Very neighborly.
It is very neighborly, very communal. I like it. Hey guys, we're trying to be communal here too. So if you guys have a question, want to ask RVD, pop it here in the chat. If you really definitely want it answered, use the super chat. That helps out both of us on the show and everything like that in our networks. So feel free to chime in. We always have a good time doing that. And sometimes that really directs where the show's going. I do typically have some notes, but usually I let you guys lead the way and all that kind of stuff. So cool.
All about the fans. Fans. I like to give the fans control. Remember, I said that when I break some really big news in the next couple of weeks.
Ooh, oh boy, man, there's a teaser, guys. There,
yes, sir.
Holy cats! How about that? So
I'm not saying it's really, really big, but it's really, really fucking big.
Okay, sweet. I like that. Hey, speaking of big, we were talking right before we started recording. We mentioned about like vascularity and stuff like that, and you mentioned how like, you know, bodybuilders carb up and everything like that. I know there's a contingency of wrestlers that try to get into bodybuilding and stuff like that. Was that ever an interest to you to do something like a competition or anything?
No, I don't think so. I don't think I ever saw me doing that. You know, I did used to read Muscle and Fitness magazine when I was in high school and got a lot of tips and learned a lot about working out and just the whole lifestyle. And so there's definitely a lot of crossover appeal, but I never personally thought about, I also don't think, I never thought about even learning like what all it entails, because those guys they compete in bodybuilding. Like, it'd be great to know that much stuff, but I must not have that much interest that high on my priority list, or else I would know all that stuff. And the more you know, the better you are ahead. And those guys are scientists, like they know exactly what they're eating and how their body breaks it down and how to even manipulate the receptors in their body so that it receives more of what they want. Usually in the end is protein synthesis for the muscles, but there's so much you can do to even prime your own body to receive, what you put into it. And man, it's not just training. It's obviously it's diet. It's like complete lifestyle. But I never did. I never saw me as doing that role. No, I was surprised when I went to the Mr. Olympia last year or the year before. Yeah, I was surprised at what crossover appeal there was. Like there was almost everything that was for me in my world. I mean, it wasn't just about people posing, which I don't really know how to pose. Never really been. I don't even spend that much time in the. I probably spend way less time in the mirror than my peers. That do the promos in the mirrors and believe in themselves. They're already so cocky that we hate them believing in themselves before they've even done anything. But I found that at Mr. Olympia there was like there was a lot of kratom, and there was protein, and there was workout clothes, and there was tanning stuff, and there was just like so much there that I was like walking around with a bag getting all these samples like, whoa, I didn't even realize how much this is my world, because that's how much different I think of in the bodybuilding competitive world,
Yeah. It was pretty. So the gym I go to in Pittsburgh, they have just a couple weeks ago, they had like a big bodybuilding competition there, and some like world-renowned bodybuilders were actually hanging out in the gym, and they were like doing photo shoots and stuff like that. And it's really takes commitment to kind of do that kind of stuff and be on top of all that. And like you could see it in their bodies. It's like unbelievable how different they look inside the gym comparison.
It's amazing. They can like do a pose down in the mirror a few weeks before or whatever and be like, okay, my rear delts are a little bit behind, they're asymmetric with the rest of my development. I need to spend more time and bring those out, and then I'll be perfect. And then boom, actually be able to achieve that result. It's crazy. I did used to want to power lift though when I first started lifting.
Okay, did you?
Yeah, I never entered a contest, but there used to always be posters, whether it was a bench press test or powerlifting, and I was always interested. And Tom, my mentor that introduced me to Sheik and that also taught me how to lift weights, he was a power lifter. He's got a house full of trophies because he's really strong, 315 pounds, and or he was 315, he was a big dude. And what was he benching? I don't know, in the sixes anyway. But anyway, a lot of trophies. And when I did the Van Dam lift, that was actually officiated by an actual powerlifting organization that was there to watch it and document it. But yeah, learning from him, and I was always a lot stronger than I looked.
Yeah. Well, dude, like we talked about this before, like your legs and stuff like that is like where a whole lot of your strength is at. And like you got big legs. And that's why I asked the one time if you played hockey before, because I know a lot of hockey players have that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, I bet you would have fit right in the groove of powerlifting a lot of ways.
Tom taught me how to squat. And I remember early on, he said, man, you must just be, he was watching my form. And he said, man, you must just be built to squat, because that you have perfect form. Yeah, you got the perfect squat. Like the first time I was doing a few reps in like this, and I was like, sweet, let's throw some weight on there. Yeah.
Sheik never told you had to do the leg things like he told you.
No, he didn't.
do the leg things.
Yeah.
Maybe do some more.
Right, that's funny.
Now, Tom, he was the see you guy, right? See you.
Yeah, and it's funny you bring that up. because I've now noticed after talking about this last week, I still do that so many times throughout the week. Like with certain people that I'm talking to, I end up, all right, dude. All right, man. I'll talk at you later then. All right. Soup. And I'm like, damn, I did it again.
That's great.
I didn't even realize it. I was with my family because my mom turned 84 the other day. Happy 84th birthday, Mama. She's not watching the show, but maybe she'll feel the vibes.
Yeah.
But I was talking, telling some kind of a story, and then when I stopped, like my sister was just staring at me, and she's like, "Don't get mad at me." I'm like, and she said, "I'm just not used to you saying GD so openly before." I said, "GD? I didn't." She said, "Yeah, you did." I go, "What are you talking about? I don't even know what I said that made it even sound like that." She said, "What did you say before Dam?" I'm like, "Van." And then my mom said, I heard you too. And then Katie's like, "Yeah, we all heard you say it." And I'm like, "Really?" And I was thinking about it, and I was telling my story, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I guess I did. I guess I've adopted that into my vocabulary and didn't even realize it." But that's my way to express frustration when I talk about spilling something over. I'm telling a story, and it went everywhere, and I was like, "God damn it!" Like I don't even notice that I say that. And
yeah, it kind of just gets embedded a little bit. I know.
Yeah,
my mom's super religious too. She's Catholic, and so I try to watch.
You like this though, because my mom said, "But that's using his name in vain." I said, "I love veins. I'm always trying to get more vascular. Look at these.
Look it, I got vascularity. God appreciates it."
It got a pop in the living room.
Nice. That's awesome.
What were you saying about your mom before I so rudely interrupted you?
Oh, that's okay. No, she's like Catholic and stuff like that, and I'm still kind of Catholic and everything like that. So I try to watch it sometimes, but I just say it, and it's like, oh, I'll just try to be mindful next time. I'm sure.
This episode is sponsored by Blue Chew. Let's talk about sex, guys. Remember the days when you were always ready to go? Now you can increase your performance and get the extra confidence in bed. Listen up, BlueChew.com. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but in chewable tablets and at a fraction of the cost. You can take them anytime, day or night, so you can plan ahead or be ready whenever an opportunity arises. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you receive prescription within days. The best part, it's all done online, so no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in the line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew tablets are made in the USA and prepared and shipped direct to your door in a discreet package. They always say first impressions are important. What about lasting impressions? Blue Chew wants to help you have better sex. Discover your options at BlueChew.com. Chew it and do it. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code RVD at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code RVD to receive your first month free. Visit Blue Chew for more details and important safety information. And we, RVD and I, thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast.
It just happens. I can't say I'm not saying Van Dam. She knows that much.
Man, damn it.
Gee whiz.
Yeah, I'm okay with swearing. I think people should know that. That's part of my non-conformity is censorship is ridiculous to me.
Yes, swearing is therapeutic. I think I try to watch what I say sometimes, but more often than not, I'll swear.
Well, the thing is, from my perspective, is that we give the power to the words. It's not like it's not like a book from heaven came down. Came to us and said, okay, these words, okay, if you're describing that, it's okay to that thing that just came out of that dinosaur / buffalo / chipmunk, whatever. If you want to describe that, like humans are brand new, right?
Yeah.
If you call it poop, cool. Doo-doo, no one's got a problem with that. But if you call it shit, wait, how do you say that? Shit, like that, then we're all going to be offended.
Right. Then that's when you get upset.
Does that make sense? I mean, we give the words their power, choose to be offended by them, and then hold that power in reservation so we can use it, like you said, to relieve stress or for someone to really make a point. But in the end, what the fuck? All it is the pronunciation that's caused from the positioning of our lips when we talk. I mean, I always come to this. Dom, dude, man, I think you're a great fucking guy.
Oh, thanks.
If I say that, why should you be offended?
Right. I
Should be the meaning of it, But if I say, you know what? You can suck a wiener next time I see you. I'm going to smack you across your face. That, I think, should come across a little more abrasively than being like, you know what? Fuck, dude. He's a good shit, right?
Yeah.
But,
and even adding the swear word into it makes more emphasis on it. So you even mean it a little bit more. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, hey, you're a fucking great guy.
And again,
you're a great guy, Rob.
Yeah. That's the power we give to it. You know what I mean? And hey, let's go to the N word. We give that so much power that it's courteous to just know that that's going to offend so many people. It's much better to not even say it. And that's with a whole bunch of history behind it and how it was used to, make an entire whole race of people feel or appear to be inferior. Just everything about that. And still, I could argue that, that you could say the word and still be a good person or not mean it offensively. But it's much better to not even fuck with that. But for most people, they feel like that about all words. Katie's always like, there's kids in the elevator. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm sorry.
Oh, shit. I didn't mean to say shit, sorry, buddy.
They're in public, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't do that on purpose to offend anybody. If I'm at a school, elementary school or something, I'm going to be on my best behavior. But that's because I know how it's perceived, because I know how other people will be offended, not because I will mean anything differently than if I choose other words to describe the exact same thing that I want to say.
Right. Yeah, it's I find it therapeutic. I know people. It's such a weird kind of censorship thing that's got indoctrinated into us to be like, okay, this is faux pas.
And how about when people replace it? What? Shut the front door.
Yeah.
And they really they think that they have a better place in heaven now because they chose to say it that way. Because the words don't even mean the same. In different languages. Like in England, they call a vagina a fanny. And so us wrestlers have learned a long time ago how much they think the fanny pack is a funny thing for us to call it that, because it means something completely different there.
Yeah.
It's just the way, like I said, that we're positioning our lips and our tongue and our teeth when we say things. That's what makes a difference between fucking truck, not the intention. So it's really strange to me that censorship is it comes from a place that a perspective that's considered intelligent, because I feel like it's inconsistent with intelligence unless it has a meaning that I don't understand.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, if you're cursed, it doesn't mean you're. I think it's such a weird thing to think that somebody's dumber because they swear a lot or anything like that. I think it's more of the person. If the person's acting like an idiot, then they're freaking. You can tell they're a moron. You don't need the words to kind of have that happen for you.
from let's say, Sheldon on that Big Bang Theory.
Big Bang Theory, yeah.
Yeah, how he's so almost robotic and not relatable to humans and stuff. All right, I have a big part of me that I think is like that looks at everyone as an outsider, like is a one of a kind. And from that perspective, I feel like most things that are done just because it's tradition or custom are non-functional, and therefore it could be considered superfluous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that.
Or not needed, expendable. Like most things, like it's Thanksgiving. You can't leave the table until you're so stuffed. You got to undo your buttons on your pants or whatever. Blah 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 blah. It's like, okay, I get it, but most things like that, if it's just because of culture and tradition, it usually isn't functional with survival. And if you look at it from that way, there's a lot of unnecessary emphasis put on things that people don't think about. They just consider it, hey, I'm trying to be a better person. I quit swearing. Okay, if that makes you feel like a better person, but I'm not going to think of you as any better of a fucking person, than I did before. But good on you, working on you. That's healthy.
Mm-hmm. Just trying to, it's a good perspective. Yeah, they're just trying to better themselves in their own right and seeing what maybe they feel is tripping them up.
And we all judge from our own values, so that's how we all see everybody.
That's it. Darren Staley, who's a One True Sport member, says superfluous. I need a dictionary for this show.
Yeah, I knew that one was a big one to try to ask people to hang with, but yeah, expendable.
Expendable, exactly. Well, guys, if you have some questions, I start a few of them. We have a super chat here. Let's see what this one said. Oh, here we go. Alex Ondrick, thank you for the $2. He's got a kratom question, Rob. Ever try loose kratom powder, aka toss and wash?
That is the only way that I take it.
Okay.
Yes, 100% of the time that I take it, unless I'm experimenting. Katie loves these Viva Zens, and I actually found this. Because I am doing R&D, which is research and development, because I would like to have some RVD kratom so that I can make it more accessible for people out there. So people are sending me boxes of stuff, like 1836 sent me that box last week. I'll get to this week's box too, but I'm sampling it and I'm trying the liquids and even the capsules. I always get the same results with capsules, and that is that I have to take 30 of them at least before I feel like I took maybe 10 grams of the powder, toss and wash. So I suspect the cellulose that holds the capsules holds on to it too long, and it bypasses some of the metabolic system that would normally break it down. And it's been that way for me and people that I talk to always. So what's up with that? I mean, I feel like that's something they got to fix sometime, because it's so convenient to just take capsules. Everyone gets different results with everything, so I got to say that. But my favorite is the toss and wash. What I do is I put water in my mouth first to coat my tongue, and then I scoop the kratom in on top of the water, and then I go, and I try to get the entire thing down in one gulp so that the powder doesn't stick on my tongue, because that's a bad experience. And quite often I end up with that all over my face and shirt and counter anyway. But I do that, and then immediately, take some liquid water usually, and then drink it down. And for me, like I would say like 20 grams of powder is a good amount for me. Like maybe 10 grams and then wait a little while, take another 10 grams, something like that. Usually I'll start to feel it, which for me isn't getting high. A lot of people, I guess, get high off of kratom, And for me, it's just a matter of where it helps make my pain go away. It works on your opiate sensors in your brain, just like narcotics. So it has that effect. Although we're all told that the powders come in 3 different leaves with different colors and varying effects, I think that they're all the same. But I don't know that for a fact. There's white, which is supposed to pick you up and be the most like a narcotic. There's the red that's supposed to help you sleep, and the green in between. And I've been told by 2 different manufacturers that it's all the same. It's all just leaves that they crumble up into a powder, and that the different colors come from the same leaves and have the same effect. I find that to be true, but I'm not real sensitive to anything. So I like to go by firsthand experience and also asking other people and seeing how their results are when I really want to test anything. And so that's what I do, is toss and wash. Thanks for asking. That's definitely, for me, the best, quickest results. And that's why I do it. Sometimes it's hard to do it. And sometimes it's hard to do that when you got a bottle of Vicodin sitting there too. And you're like, damn, man, it'd be so much easier taking a pill than taking that nasty ass powder. It's like I always explain it like this. When the smoothies were like really popular, like 10 years ago or whatever, and their Jamba Juice was everywhere. We were all doing this thing called the fuck was it? It was a nasty green shot of earth. It felt like you were playing football and you just got your face stuffed into the ground and somebody stomped on your head and you ate the grass. Wheatgrass.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was a big hit. Wow.
So I say that the taste of kratom powder is probably twice as bad as wheatgrass. That's the best way for me to explain it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we got a lot of chat here going on about kratom. Darren Staley, who I believe is running for I think he's running for senator in North Carolina. Says the legislature in North Carolina has a bill under consideration to criminalize. He meant criminalize kratom.
Where are you going?
To the Bronx. Just up the street.
Oh, okay. See you in a bit. Love you.
Love you.
Say that again, dude.
Yeah, so Darren Staley, he's mentioned here, let's see, that the legislature in North Carolina has a bill under consideration to ban kratom, or he meant criminalize it, he said, or criminalize it, as have other states. They call it the gas station heroin. I have no idea, but it's good to hear other voices on it.
Yeah, so that's the thing. The government wants to make it a controlled substance. Why? Because it works.
Mm-hmm.
They want their cut. That's the way it's always going to be. It really works. I have a wrestler friends that were addicted to opiates, Vicodin, or even oh shit, I just took the filter out. Damn it. D, help. She rolled all these. People are confused.
Wow, okay.
People are confused about that because they just assume Katie when I say, oh, you know, you got the right girl when you come home to this. And people, I let them think what they want, but D's the roller.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I came home this time and she rolled an entire 2 ounces. I was thinking, like, what's a half a quarter ounce? Like, you know, but 2 ounces. Bam. Let me share with you what's left. There's still a lot left. That's a lot. Bam. Fucking hey.
How long does that take for her to do?
I don't know. She says she loves it. She has so much fun with it. She says she's like addicted. She's like, we need more weed. I'm like, okay, yeah, go through a little more, but it's so awesome having it pre-rolled because it takes me a long time and I'm really messy. And anyway, cool. Kratom, they're trying to control it. They've been for a long time trying to control kratom, and it works so fucking good. They gotta, you know, and it's also it's available in gummies, which yeah, by the way, people love gummies, so that's something I should get for RVD kratom as well, besides the powder is gummies, because Usually, there's some sugar, 5 grams of sugar or so with a gummy. Not always though, but I associate it with that and just go pure straight on for the powder. But there's gummies, and then there's also the liquids, and they make tea out of it, which is traditional from China from thousands of years ago, and that's just one of the ways that they used to do it and still do. But you can't get it everywhere, and so like when I travel, I would also look ahead sometimes, be like, is kratom legal in Tennessee or illegal? And sometimes you go somewhere, and also because I would need to know, like, can I just pick it up there? Because if so, that's great. Imagine something that works. I'm not saying it's as strong as like a fucking 10 milligram Vicodin, but everyone gets different reaction, and like I said, I don't even get high off of it, but taking enough of it, experiment, find out what's the right amount for you to take, and you can theoretically, possibly, and I believe probably be able to solve the same issues that the Vicodin solves. In other words, you feel satisfied in the same way. It's gratifying. It makes you feel better. It takes the edge off. It helps mask your pain. Whatever you were looking for, this does it too. So I hope that the government doesn't. It's a leaf from the coffee plant, and now they want to say it's a drug, a controlled substance, and like I said, make their cut off of it. But that's the world we live in.
And it's funny too, because it's like everybody drinks coffee, and coffee has different reactions. People react to coffee differently. Why can't we ban coffee or criminalize coffee? It's just like,
exactly. I mean, are you telling me that caffeine isn't a stimulant?
right.
Yeah. But you can now, by the way, get kratom online because it's not controlled federally. And so for a while, people have been stocking up whenever it looks like, okay, something might happen. And I did that a while ago, but a lot of it was because people were sending it to me because I wanted to put my brand on it. I've wanted to do that for a long time, even when I had those two assholes, the two J's, and we'll talk about them later too. But so I have had a lot of kratom just sitting anyway, but sometimes it looks like, like a vote's coming up and it's like, fuck, keep your fingers crossed, because man, it can help so many people. And but this guy says, it's like the gas station heroin. I have had at least one person. He writes into here, watches the show, and says that his son died of kratom. And I don't know the story behind it. I certainly don't think that's very probable that is going to happen to anybody. But people die from peanut allergies. Everybody's body chemistry is different. And so, I'm not calling anybody a liar for sure. And I'm also not going to stop recommending that a lot of people I would recommend should try, because it could help, even if one person or whatever had a bad experience, which I would love to hear the story and give them a chance also to have their story heard.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to get the word out and get different perspectives on stuff and then make a decision that way a lot of times. So. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Some couple wrestling questions we got here. Here's a good one. You might have answered this one before, though. I think that let's see if you have it. What's Rob's favorite building to work in ECW outside of the ECW arena? Was there one that you hit a note with you? I would say maybe Hammerstein would be a guess I would have, but
that's going to be hard to outdo. I'm thinking Hammerstein Ballroom also, which is the New York home of ECW. At the time, there was like a little feud going on between New York and Philadelphia with the fans, as far as like, who had the rights to ECW, who were the better hardcore fans. And New York wanted ECW to move their home base there, and the Hammerstein Ballroom was our base in New York at that time, and they would take bus rides from Philly and bus the fans up there to the New York shows, and vice versa. And so it was something really cool going on. And so it had that kind of an atmosphere because we had really important shows there. I don't know if we ever did any unimportant house shows there. Maybe it was always pay-per-view. But for that reason, I liked being there because of that atmosphere. Coming into ECW, also in New York, I liked the Elks Lodge in Queens. That was part of breaking my cherry, introducing me to this whole world, the music, the blood, the adult themed wrestling, the violence, the titties. Thinking of the girls in Queens holding their shirts up in the crowds, what I'm thinking of. But that was awesome. You know, lots of good memories from there. It was cool. Well, I did it once, but it's pretty cool. We did the Olympic Auditorium in Los Angeles. Very historical building and a nice arena. I always liked it when they were nicer. That never changed throughout my career. You know, like I got some heat for saying Madison Square Garden had some shitty dressing rooms, so I wasn't excited about being there.
Yeah.
All of our bags are crowded in on each other. There's no room for two people to get dressed at the same time in the dressing room, and it was the shits. You know, one toilet, someone already's pissed all over it before the show even starts. That's how I remember the buildings. So for me, when we were somewhere, even if it was like the Manta Ray Civic Center, sweet Civic Center, boom, that sounds awesome. You know?
Yeah. I remember the story you told about Jim Thorpe, that arena, and the porch like almost collapsing, or you were fearing it.
Yeah, almost fell off the hill, off the fucking hill. Yeah. What a shit! Yeah, what a shitty. That was one of the worst dressing rooms. There was no lights in there. It was so dark, and it's outside because it's a porch that hangs out over the cliff, and it's outside of the bar with like a tent material, canvas or something over it, and it was just the shits. It was wet. The carpet was soaked from rain. Yeah, and with WWE, I did expect more. I know RVDology says don't have expectations. All they'll do is set you up for disappointment. But you would think that with a higher budget and everything that goes along with that they would take care of the boys more. Not necessarily so. I always felt like we were just I don't know, we were just animals, and the guys on top were the meat peddlers. You know, I've used that expression a lot, but that is really what it felt like, to have all of us all in sometimes the showers don't even have warm water. Like, what, somebody couldn't have checked that before we got here? They didn't give a shit. Sometimes it felt like they didn't care about the talent at all. We were just the gladiators. They were going out there to fucking kill ourselves and be stupid. And then the McMeat handlers on top, you know, just made the money.
They made the
meat
cash.
peddlers. The meat peddlers.
I'd never heard that term before you said it.
It's a way that I use it to describe a very degrading perspective of oneself in the importance and in the brutality and everything of what we do and what it means. And we're animals. We're all dirty. You know, just throw us a fucking pig down on our cold cement floor. We'll fight for it to eat. Sometimes that's how it felt. Oh, they don't need silverware. Fuck them, you know. And then you know, dress us up and give us an outstanding 5-star image to the public. You know what I mean? It felt like that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seth chimed in $5. Thanks, Seth. Elks Lodge.
Hey, always, bro. He's our man.
He's always
He
helping
can't
out,
do
man.
it. Hopefully someone can.
Yeah, right.
That's our song, dude. All right,
Yep.
go ahead.
All right. Elks Lodge felt most underground and extreme. Poughkeepsie was big and loud and fun too, he said. Poughkeepsie.
Yeah, I enjoyed Poughkeepsie. You know, not necessarily the dressing room so much. You went downstairs, and there was a few rooms you had to pick, like who you're going to be crowded in with, you know, and fit in there. And it wasn't like tables and chairs and shit like that. You know, it was, there was in the main opening room, if you wanted to dress in the main room where all the girls and everyone is socializing and whatever, but you don't. You go into the rooms and change, or you go into the bathroom actually there and change your stuff that you don't want to show the girls, or what, you know, it was like that. So when I think about that, but also I would smoke downstairs and walk around to the other side, and thinking back, like it was so careless to not think that everyone was going to smell the smoke, because basically I was on the same floor in just basically on the other side of the steps, and I would smoke down there. And like Dreamer or somebody would come down and say, "Hey, you know, you can't smoke here. It's everybody smells it. You know, you're gonna get us kicked out of the building." And I'd be like, "Fuck, we got the door open. What do they expect?" And so many times I look back, like I was so clueless and careless.
Sometimes you don't think about that stuff, though. I know there's a lot of different things I do that with too.
No excuses, dude. I could write a book for it. I think about when we were in Thailand doing Black Mass 2, and we were told that the penalty for marijuana is death. Did that scare us? Fuck no. We were like, cool, let's score. And Andrew Bernarski, do you know who that is?
No, I don't.
Andrew Bernarski's an actor. He fucked around with wrestling for a little bit. He's been in like everything, and he's most known for his football movies. Big Meathead. He played the big roided out football player in every movie back then. The Program, Any Given Sunday, and was it The Rookie or something with an R, where they lay down in the road on that movie.
Placements? Was that
Maybe. He was in all of those, but in Any Given Sunday, you know, he's like, rah! He's that guy that he's got his shit, so he goes in the stall even though someone's already in there.
Oh, I know. Yeah. He's like,
That's Andy Bernarski. He and I were the only ones that smoked marijuana. We were so thoughtless and careless that on the set, even like all the dress, certain sets, certain locations, all the actors had to dress in one trailer. And we would go in there, we would smoke it out, and the other actors would be like, do you have to do that in here? And I would just be like, well, it's too fucking hot outside, man. And they're like, you can't just go outside for a few minutes and smoke. We don't want to smell all that. And I was like, fuck no, man, I need the air conditioner. And I really, looking back at, like, I really didn't give a fuck, and really didn't even think that all the way through about how inconsiderate that was. I didn't give a fuck.
yeah,
Crazy.
that is crazy. It's no, it is like it's
everywhere, dude. And I'm also the double-decker bus in Ireland that AWR would rent, and there was more of us that smoked there. The same thing, we would smoke that whole bus up every day. You know, as soon as we get on the bus, we're upstairs, and the smoke's going to make its way everywhere. And then there'd be certain guys what's his name? Shoot, now I'm stuck on this dude. This guy is Joey. He never wrestled in the States or never made it as a star in the States, but he's very well known on the European UK tour. Joey something. He's like an Al Snow kind of looking dude.
oh,
Joe.
Anybody
Help
know?
me out, fans.
Yeah, help me out.
He would be like, dude, do you have to? Can't you smoke before you get on the bus? And I'd be, oh yeah, we did that too.
Yeah, we got that out of the way.
Yeah, it helps kill the 2-hour drive. Well, I know, but then then we all have to breathe it, and we don't want to smoke it. And I think the reason I felt like that was because I was like, oh, they just think it's hurting them, but it's not. Like, I really felt like that. Oh, don't worry, it's not like cigarette smoke. There's no carcinogens. There's no poison chemicals whatsoever in marijuana smoke. So, don't worry, it's healthy. I think it was that perspective that made me feel like I wasn't doing anything wrong. And now I think about it, and it was quite rude.
But you always say too, it's like you learn as you get older, and that helps.
Yeah, that's one of the things I noticed. I used to do that all the time and be careless, but that's how. Like, I remember before I smoked, when Sabu and Judge Dredd would roll the windows up and try and smoke me and Dango out, and we're in the back seat, said, "Open up, it's not funny." They'd be laughing their asses off, blowing it at us.
Stop it.
But we did think it was killing us.
No, did you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what we were taught. That's what we were taught.
Wow. The Reefer Madness. Did you watch that when you were younger? Reefer Madness?
What do you mean when I was younger?
Like when you were a kid. Like before you really started smoking or anything like that.
No, I never saw it before I was smoking. And the movie, was used like in 1937 as a campaign. So I wasn't around then when it was making its first rounds. But there's a very, very funny musical remake of it that I recommend if you haven't seen it, because it's so entertaining and it's up to date, like funny. Now, at least I think so. Same name, Reefer Madness, but it's current meaning maybe 15 years ago. I don't know. Hey, while we're on the subject, though, let me say thank you to Raw Papers, because they sent me a box of goodies, and I love fucking Raw. If you don't know, these guys are they're unbleached, right? So that's the thing about them is I don't know when I started smoking Raw, long time ago, 10 years ago, 15, who knows. But I got so spoiled that when somebody has white paper, like the old fashioned shit, zigzag, something like that, it tastes so bad. It tastes like burning paper. And with Raw, they're thin, they're non-bleached, and then you don't have the chemicals of them. So when I got the RVD rolling papers, that's what I went for, was the exact same thing. They're basically they mimic Raw papers. They might be the same papers in a different shell. I don't know if we get them from the same distributor. That's how it works. I found that out filling vending machines when I was a kid. Found out all the different coffee companies all got their coffee from Robert's Coffee and Foods, and they just packaged it differently and sold it for different prices. Same thing with sugar. They got it from Gala Sugar, etc. But anyway, unbleached, king size, classic Raws is my favorite, and that's what the RVD papers are too. So they reached out and said, "Hey, we would love to send you something," and they sent rolling tray. Dude, I have so many rolling trays from. That's too badass. I don't have any that are that cool though.
That's fucking sweet.
This one's really big, but that's something very common that people send me. Can always use an ashtray.
That's badass too.
I love Raw and a bunch of stuff. Who knows what's in here?
Ooh.
I've got a poster of some kind, but classics. Like I said, these are my faves, and they also have organic papers, which, to be honest, the Raw organic papers, which are a little, the package is lighter, those sometimes I have a hard time with the glue sticking. So that's the only reason I don't always use organic. But dude, I dig the hat. I never knew I could look so cool in a hat. And there's a bunch of stuff, big box of papers like this. That's going to last me all week. Yeah. That was a joke. But boom, slow burning classic. And they're vegan. Didn't know that. But for real, I can't smoke the white ones unless sometimes the white ones, if they are also unbleached and or organic and or hemp papers if they have the glue right. Some of those are okay, but the JOBs, the old school ones, you might as well roll it in a loose leaf paper or a paper envelope and hand it to me lit, because that's what it tastes like.
Oh man,
Thank you, Raw. You guys are fucking awesome.
that's badass. And they're a recognizable brand too. Even I know them. Even I know that brand. Look at that.
Even you know what?
I
Oh,
even know that brand, the Raw brand.
Dude, they're the best. If you don't follow them on Instagram, you should. The guy that is the, I think his name's Robert too. I should have looked his name up. Maybe I'll do it. I'll do it coyly while we're talking, and I'll pretend I'm listening to you. But anyway, the guy, I see him at conventions all the time and stuff. He's very dedicated, and he's always coming up with new stuff. Like every once in a while, you might see someone that does some origami with the papers and they make it into a flower or something. This guy on Instagram, he's always coming up with functional, cool stuff. And I don't know that it's always his idea, but he's always presenting amazing stuff. Like, did you know, you could do this with a doobie? Like, what? My doobie doubles as a flotation device? I had no idea. There's so many things, you just don't know. And he tells you, or he makes cool stuff together, or you can use this to set your doobie on and keep it from running, whatever. Awesome stuff. RVD says RAW is a winner.
A winner. I'll have to follow them on Instagram for sure.
Yeah.
Man.
Winner,
Hey,
winner,
Rob, you don't have to look coyly for it. You can just look right now, because I'll do a little sponsorship read here. Right
Sweet.
now, guys, we are sponsored by Get Blitzed. Get Blitzed is THC nano-infused Serp Lit Aid. It's Get Lit Aid and is 100% legal in all 50 states. It's by Mickey Ray Sinatra and Courtney. They're based out of Maryland. But, yeah, it's legal in all 50 states, and they ship everywhere. It's Delta 9. You can get several different flavors, from Tiger's Blood to Blue Raspberry. That's the one I have in my cupboard. We also have Key Lime Pie, Pina Colada, and a cherry one, too. So just go to get-blitz.com and use promo code RVD. Get 15% off. That's get-blitz.com, promo code RVD. 15% off your whole order. And you can get like a package of them, or you can get them single by the bottle. But it's good stuff. It was a real smash hit during WrestleMania weekend. So give them a try, guys. Thanks, Mickey Ray and Courtney. So there you go.
Cool. The guy that owns Raw is Josh Esselman. No, Kesselman. Sorry.
Kesselman.
Josh Kesselman. Yeah, not Rob at all, but cool dude. And man, he blows my mind like at least once a week with some of the stuff that he posts, and just really cool stuff, functional stuff that's easy to do that can help improve the game.
That's it, man. That's it.
Ooh.
Hey, we got some more super chats here. Here's a good one. We'll get Eddie. So Eddie Prather, he's a member at OneTrueSport.com. You guys can sign up at OneTrueSportTV.com. He asks, Eddie, we talked about this plenty of times, and Rob shared some stuff, but thanks for the $2. He says, Rob, any stories from your short time in WCW? Is there any ones that kind of stand out to you that really that was an interesting time for you, for sure?
It was. So I went to WCW in December of '92 and had a tryout match, but really, I think I pretty much had the job anyway. And Ron Slinker was friends with Bill Watts, who was the boss there. And Ron Slinker's the guy that gave me the name Rob Van Dam. He's the guy that he was Tex Slassinger's mom's husband.
Really?
Yes.
So that's Midian, guys, if you didn't know who Tex Slash
Yes.
is. Yep, that's Midian.
Good dude and funniest wrestler ever. He
So funny.
legitimately, like always, just has me laughing with his intelligent sense of humor. And he went to WCW first, and Ron got him a job in WCW, and then it wasn't long afterwards that he was getting me in. I remember the girl that I was seeing at the time in Florida. She had seen Dennis Tex before she saw me.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
In fact, there was a little bit carelessness, rudeness on my part coming in and not realizing that they had something going on. And then, I was just young. I'm 21. 20, actually, I turned 21 during all this. But anyway, I just remember that when Ron was telling me, kid, I think I got you a meeting, in March up there in WCW. He goes, give me a couple more weeks. I'm going to get you in. And I remember telling her, and I remember her saying, I just feel like this is Dennis's time right now. And I remember her saying that, and I was like, yeah, because it was like a real local kind of feel down there in Tampa. You know what I mean? Like everyone went to the Sportatorium. It was a real small place. The local school and promoters and everybody all were, like friends, family. Everyone in the business knew each other. Everyone was really excited for Tex, Dennis, Midian to be up there in WCW, and I did feel like I was kind of not raining on his parade, but kind of like stepping into his moments. Everyone was like, "Oh, that's so cool, man! Good for him," because we all wanted to be stars and be on TV and whatever. But I wasn't going to tell the guy, "No, I don't think you should bring me up now. Let Dennis get some more love first." And you know what I mean? So I was just like, "Let's see what happens." Met Bill Watts. He didn't want to use the name Van Dam. He said, there's already a Van Dam. You should do something different. You don't want to get confused, have people confuse you with someone else, especially when you're trying to make a name for yourself. I was like, yeah, but man, I've already been in the magazine at least once. I got, 12 fans that know me as this. And Slinker said, I got it, Robbie V. Boom. I like it. It's still Van Dam. We're going by something different. Those on the know are going to know. Stuck with Robbie V. And then just while I was there, went through different ways of spelling it every week. From ROBBY and the letter V, which I like the best, to ROBBIE and VEE and whatever. But that's what we did while I was there for like 5 months. I got hired in December of 92, and I stayed till about May of 93. While I was there, I was not happy. First, Bill Watts was there, and I was enjoying myself. I'm on TV. People are talking good about me. I mean, I was green as grass. So for me to tell you what was Brian Pillman like, what was, I was so green and
right.
so young, so a lot of my perspective was that of a fucking grasshopper. I do remember Larry Zbyszko one time ribbing me, and the old man was in the dressing room, Jim Barnett, and Larry Zbyszko says, he says, hey, he says, Jim, don't you think Robbie should wear trunks instead of that? Because I wear what I got now. I didn't have the airbrushing yet, but I had the
singlet.
One of those, huh?
Red singlet? The red singlet?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think I also had a black one. But, yeah, I want to call it a unitard, but I think a unitard would only be one strap. So,
yeah.
Anyway, he was ribbing me in the dressing room one time. Larry Zbyszko saying, he said, Jim, don't you think, Rob, you should wear some trunks? That hides your, but Jim, don't you think Robbie should wear some trunks and show his body off more instead of that? And, Jim was very effeminate. And so he was like, oh, for sure, Robbie. You don't hide your body. And that's a horrible impression. But I think that's the best I could do. you know, and he was like, yeah, tell him, because why do you hide your body? And I was just looking at Larry like, you motherfucker. You know, and I was embarrassed, but I was shy, you know, and young and green and, you know, didn't know what to do. And then finally they just like laughed and went on about their way. I'll always remember that moment. I was wrestling and winning matches with the likes of Scotty Flamingo, beating Tex. Sorry, bro, but coming in during his moment and beating Tex and his partner, Shanghai Pierce. And I was winning against guys like Buddy Lee Parker, of course, my debut match with Pat Rose. And eventually I went to Japan in February of 93. It was a tour that I already had obligated myself to before I got the job with WCW. Mm-hmm. So Bill Watts was like, go ahead. You know, our guys wrestle for New Japan, not All Japan. But you can do this one tour because you already had it booked, you know, and you boom, finish out your obligations. I went to Japan and got over huge. This was my first time in Japan. Got over. I knew I had a job there if I wanted that paid way more than what I was getting in WCW, which was, by the way, in WCW, I was getting $150 a show. Mm-hmm. Except TV, they would dock you $50 for doing TV, so I'll get $100 for that.
Holy shit!
Yeah. So I'm working 3 or 4 times a week and making, you know, $450 to, you know, $500-600 somewhere in there. But then I'm chipping in for the rent-a-car, paying for the hotel, eating, you know. And so I wasn't really happy with the way that was going because I was making a lot more money before I went to WCW just doing indies. Being on the independent scene, I was cleaning up. I was getting paid more to wrestle. Plus, I was able to sell my own merchandise, which would at least double what I was making wrestling anyway. And at the time, I would sell 2 tables worth of shit. Not sell it all, but I had that much different merchandise. 2 tables worth of shit, different pictures of me, different sizes, 8x10s, 3x5s, keychains, practice ninja stars, little swords, WWE VHS tapes that I bought at the dollar store that I was pawning off here, foam nunchucks, T-shirts. I would have all this stuff, 2 tables of stuff, and I was cleaning up, making money besides getting paid to wrestle and sometimes getting part of the back end of the show too. But so wasn't happy in WCW. But what really sucked was when I came back from Japan, Bill Watts is no longer the booker. Now the man in charge is Ole Anderson. Mm-hmm. And Ole Anderson didn't like Robbie V as much as Bill Watts. So I went from having wins over guys like that to basically either getting squashed on TV or I was giving tryouts in dark matches for guys that were coming up from different parts of the world and stuff. So I was like, you know what? I don't want to stay here anymore. And I told Mike Graham that, who was the agent. And he said, well, let me see what I can do. And the next week he offered me like an extra $50 if I stayed. And the thing is, the whole time I had this feeling I wasn't going to want to stay. So I never signed the contract. Mm-hmm. I kept losing the contract, much like forgetting to bring the ECW television championship belt back to the shows. Same thing, you know, I'll have it next week. Sorry. Same kind of thing. I never did turn it in. So I was able to walk out and just quit WCW. And I still have the contract.
Wow. Do you?
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Man.
And so I left, and immediately I was making more money. And then I was running shows with Greg Price where if there was a profit to be made from the show, I would get a piece of that, as well as all the merchandise, getting paid to wrestle, and getting sponsors from around town to help sponsor the show. And so I was doing really well back then. Then with Japan, I think they started me out at $2,000 a week, if I'm not mistaken. So that was a pretty big jump, and telling me, you pick your dates, pretty much. That's how over I was with Baba. We want you to come back. Please tell us when you're ready to come back.
Wow, that's crazy. And I always just think that's really awesome too. Obviously, you being trained by Sheik is great and like such a cool tie to history. But like you work with Giant Baba is another neat aspect of the history of the business. It's like, I just love that kind of shit.
I really liked them too. It was a little intimidating, as far as like, you're talking to the boss man, not totally unlike, not unlike Vince McMahon, but also I thought he was amazed at me because people weren't able to move like I was back then. People hadn't copied me yet. And so, once in a while, we would have a little interaction. One time, a couple times he corrected me on some bad habits. Like someone put me in a headlock and my arms would go out sometimes, Yeah. And that was something I saw people do, and it's so stupid, And he saw me do that one night. So the next day in the daytime, he called me up to the ring and told someone, put him in a headlock. And they put me in a headlock and my arms went out like that. Like I'm reaching out, and he's like, don't do that. That's stupid. It's a bad American habit. He didn't speak like that, but that was his message to me, right?
Yeah.
Another time, he thought he saw something in me, and he wanted to call me out on it. So he called me into the ring, and then he called a young boy into the ring, Asako. I believe he wore the green trunks, and he whispered in Asako's ear to do something. And said, okay, just wrestle or whatever. And we did. Asako took me and he threw me into the ropes, right? And then he dropped down into, a belly down pancake, whatever you want to call it, at my feet. And, of course, I jumped over him and hit the other ropes. And he ran over and he dove again right at my feet, tried to kind of crowd me. I jumped over him 3 or 4 times. We just did that. And then the last time, because I realized he wasn't going to do anything else, he dropped down. I hit the ropes and he dropped down. And I as I was running, I pivoted, did a 180 and did a back handspring over top of him and then landed, like boom, like ready to fight. And of course I won that debate, which is what that was. Yeah. Everybody popped, and what Baba wanted to show me was, and he told me through Dory Funk Jr. that when I run the ropes, I don't look at my opponent like everyone else does. That's true. I don't. I notice that all the time now, and because he pointed it out, I guess. But also, I noticed, to me, I don't like the way people hit the ropes. Right. I don't like the way they look at their opponent and they just bounce their butt and they put their arms to the side and they bounce it and then they run into the person while they're looking straight at them. That's not the way that I do it. And if you watch, I run at the ropes until I hit it. I am still looking at the ropes, and I hit the rope on my side under my arm. And as it slingshots me back, I spin and I turn, and then I'm able to feed more naturally than just looking at something and running into it like an idiot. And Baba wanted to prove that because I wasn't looking until the very last second, that I wouldn't be ready for something like a Sako diving down at my feet. And of course, I proved to him that I was more than ready because he couldn't trip me up no matter how many times he tried. And then I ended with that awesome RVD high spot back handspring at the end. And let's see. What the answer at the end was, the gathered information in the conclusion of this experiment was, okay, it works for me, but it wouldn't for anyone else, which I hear that a lot.
Yeah. If you guys aren't familiar, the name of the show is One of a Kind, and
Yeah.
that's why.
I've heard that a lot of times. That works for you. Well, not for anyone else.
Not for anybody else.
What are you going to do?
Real quick before we carry on, too, if Bill Watts would have stayed, and I know like the structure of WCW changed and everything like that, how do you think you would have done under his watch? Was he a big advocate for you, like in the company as like a higher, like moving up in the card and stuff like that? Or do you think?
Well, I don't know. Like I said, because I was such a green, inexperienced young kid at the time, like I'm just turning 22 while I'm there, just at the same time, in December of 92 when they're hiring me. And I can't tell you exactly what he thought of me. I do know he wasn't into high flyers, and he banned the use of the top rope while I was there. But he let me do my split-legged moonsault because he said I'm just bouncing off of it. He said that's different than climbing up and jumping off of it. So I was like, okay, just like always, I'm an exception to the rules. And, it could have very well have been just like the job that I got. It could have been obligation to Ron Slinker. They went way back. I don't know if he owed Ron or if it was just a good relationship. No idea, but it could have been something like that. Could have been why I was getting a big push, or maybe he thought that I was really talented. Either way, I started with my underdog challenge match with Pat Rose, and then I never lost a match until right before I left for Japan. And that might have been, Ole was probably, I don't know exactly which day they did the switch, but the night before my last night in WCW before my first tour of All Japan, I was in the tournament. I believe it was a TV title tournament against Vinny Vegas.
Oh, as we know, Kevin Nash
did the JOB for Vinny Vegas. He hit the dice.
Snake Eyes.
Snake Eyes, yeah. Oh, and Vader was trying to help us during the match. Vader liked me. That was cool. I found out then, but we were both green. Nash was green too, and Vader was saying before the match, saying, you got to sell like a big guy. You're out there, a big guy. You can't be bumping around and shit, obviously. And he's like, but you should be hitting him with everything you got. You should be like, kick him, go hit the ropes, come up with a flying kick, go hit the ropes, come back with a different kick, a spin kick, a flip kick, go hit the ropes. And that's exactly what I did. If you watch the match, Vader was like helping. I hit the ropes, leg lariat, boom, get off my ass, hit the ropes again, drop kick, hit the, and then and eventually, like he rocked him, and then whatever. But that was like a story that Vader was teaching me to tell that was very important. I would use that wrestling the Big Show years later, and work on his knee, bam, bam, and eventually get him down to one knee so I can fight him when we're both the same size.
Yeah, I love that's my favorite kind of dynamic in wrestling is like David versus Goliath matches are like my favorite kind of thing to tune into, and it's pretty awesome. And Vader, it's cool too because like him and Bam Bam Bigelow are so synonymous with one another with their work in Japan and stuff like that. And then you have that memorable match with Bam Bam. And it's just
yeah. And I never worked with Vader. I forgot about this. If someone asked me, I don't know if this would have come up to my mind if I wasn't thinking about this match with Vinny Vegas. But because I didn't even remember even talking to Vader that much and knowing him that much. But shit, yeah. He was there back then and helped me out in that particular moment. One other story down in the Panhandle, Pensacola, coming down from. Well, anyway, it doesn't really matter where it was. I'm in there with this other green dude. We're both green. It was Pensacola because we were smoking on the way down, and Bill Dundee was the agent. And he was like, "Oh, geez, kid, you better be able to handle yourself in the ring." I was smoking, but Too Cold Scorpio was driving, and he was smoking. He was driving, rolling joints, and smoking them. And I was like, "Wow, you're cool with us smoking?" He was like, and Scorp said, "Well, Bill knows I can handle myself after I smoke." And then Bill's looking at me like, "Oh, don't be fucked up, kid. You'll get me in trouble." And I was like, "No, cool." And I got out my little pipe because I used to smoke out of a pipe at the time, and I was smoking. Had the match that day, and during my match, the lights went out, dark. And in the middle of the crowd, and the guy that I'm wrestling, grabbed a hold and fuck, what are we going to do? And whatever we did, it was mostly, hold, bear hug, probably wrestle around a little bit. The lights eventually came back on and stuff. Not only did I handle it, but I got props, for being able to keep calm in a situation like that and be able to not abort the match. And it wasn't just me, but thank you, Bill Dundee, for that. But it wasn't just me, but also my opponent, who was Mustafa, way back in '93.
How about that? Oh man,
92, 92 probably because I went over. Or no, 93. It's January. Yeah, December, January, February. I went to Japan in February, and it seems like everything changed when I got back, and then I left in May. Said, "All right, thank you."
Yeah, wow. Guys, too, you can check back, too, on the old episodes we had Mustafa on there. It was a great one. Great episode. Real fun shit. We got some good super chats to cover here, so let's, I guess, get to that. I want to make sure we got that one. Oh, Darren Staley. This ties into kind of what you were just talking about here. Let me make sure I see
It all does. It's all relative, bro.
Mm-hmm.
It's all part of the same big net of energy.
Darren, thank you. He pitched in $5 for this one. He said, "I'm new to this show. This question has probably been asked. What 80s territory guy would RVD most have liked to wrestle? I'd have liked to see him up against Valentine." Well, you did wrestle Valentine, right?
Believe it or not, I've wrestled Greg Valentine a lot. And you know what else? He lives literally like a mile from my house.
No shit.
Yeah. And I always forget, and I never see him. Like every 5 or 6 months, I'll be like, "Oh, yeah," because someone will mention, "Doesn't Greg Valentine live in Vegas?" And I'm like, "Fuck, that's right." And usually I'll call him and leave him a message. "Dude, I'm going to stop by with a doobie or something sometime, man. Let me know when you're in town." Another 6 months will go by. I'll either see him on the road or someone will bring it up. And I'll be like, "Oh, that's right. I forget." But, he's in a neighborhood very close to us. And we know his next door neighbor is a photographer of ours.
Really?
Small world. It's a small world after all. So in the 80s, I wrestled Bobby Fulton. I wrestled Manny Fernandez. Wrestled Denny Brown, who not as many people would know, but I'll leave that up to you. Buddy Lee Parker. What other 80s wrestler? Well, did I wrestle Tommy Rogers? He was a good friend of mine. Tommy.
Fantastic, right? He was fantastic.
Yeah, him and Tommy. Tommy and Bobby.
Yep.
Fulton.
Fulton, yep.
Yeah. Good dude, man. Sorry to lose him when he passed. He used to be my guy in Hawaii that I would always see when I'd be in Hawaii, and loved hanging out with him. Someone that comes to mind is, but I guess he wasn't. I don't know if he was in the 80s. Yes, he was, right? I was going to say Sid Vicious.
Yeah, he came in the 80s. Like, I think,
So I did wrestle him once as Matt Burns. A lot of people know this. Me and I believe the dude was Scott Casey, or was it Casey Thompson? Casey Thompson, I think. I think Scott Casey was Eddie Mansfield's friend from back in the day. I think Casey Thompson was the guy that got squashed with me against Sid. That match was nothing. We were there for the payday, whatever. Not counting that, I was going to wrestle him in I don't know if it was Paris, somewhere for AWR when we were over there. We had great tours over there in AWR. Sid was on a tour, and the first night in, he hurt himself. Clotheslined X-Pac, so stiff in the face that his whole bicep was blue. I don't know if it was torn or just bruised. It was completely purple and blue for the whole tour. So he was babying it and stuff. He was supposed to wrestle me at the end of it, towards the end of it. I was really looking forward to that match at that time.
Wow.
He wasn't. He was like, man, I don't think I can do it, man. I don't know. I'm like, no, bro, trust me. It's going to be the best match you've ever had. I felt like that. I'm wrestling Bam Bam Bigelow not that long before One Man Gang, all these giants and stuff. And I really liked Sid as the monster of intensity that he was. And I was thinking, this is, and at that point, I had that competitive spirit in me, that fight in me, that to where I just knew, bam, this was going to be a great match. And I was looking so forward to it, not even knowing what I was going to do. I just knew that about it. Our chemistry was going to be fantastic. And he kept saying, I don't know, man, I don't know if I'm up for, when it comes down to the showtime, he went to the boss, said he wasn't feeling up to working with me. Got the match switched back to X-Pac. And then all the match was, much to X-Pac's surprise, which you found out live in action. The bell rings. Sid went over, kicked him in the gut, power bombed him and held him down for a 3 count. That was the whole match. And Sid went home.
Whoa.
I'm not talking bad about Sid. I was just really going to take care of him. We were going to have a great match. But, hey, when you don't feel like you're 100%, that can really do a lot to you mentally, which then in turn you feel physically and your spirit feels it. He didn't have the spirit in him to do that. But I always regretted that. So that just pops in my mind when you ask, who would I like to have a match with? I still think that match would have been pretty awesome. So I think that's my answer. If we can count him as a 80s wrestler.
Yeah, I totally think so.
And, he doesn't get credit for being that great of a wrestler. Like, no one's bragging about him. They say he can't, some less than nice things have been said about him. And I take pride in really, having people's best matches, taking their finishes the best, being, selling their shit better than everyone else does and making them look better than everyone else does. And that's the JOB right there.
Right. Do you think in a way, like he did that, like to almost kind of like protect you? So like he didn't squash you necessarily and he just wanted to kind of get the match over with and have something and get out of Dodge? Not that it was like the right thing to do.
No, because there's no way he was going to squash me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We were going to, I wouldn't have, I really cared a lot back then. And I would have stretched that match out to be, to where all the fans were like, holy fuck, that is the best match I've ever seen Sid have. That's what I had in mind.
Well, that's what I mean, though. Do you think he was like, he got it switched to X-Pac so he didn't squash you?
He got it switched because he was acting as if working with me is somehow a greater sense of a physical requirement than working with somebody else. Okay. And a lot of people think that, PJ, Just Incredible, used to always say at ECW, do you think I have what it takes to work a match with you, Rob? Like, do you think I'd have a good match with you? And, for real, you think we'd have a good match? And what Sid was saying leading up to that he didn't feel like he was going to be up to it because his arm was hurting him so much. Mm-hmm. And he thought that my belief is that he really thought he had to be in 110% physical shape, that our match had to be really stiff because I'm known for that, and that we were going to have to fucking work our asses off and fight everywhere with tables and chairs. And I think in his mind, he had himself worked up into thinking that a match with me was going to be a greater amount of spent energy, exhaustion, physical exertion. And so to change it, he just wanted an easy night and wanted to just get in and do his appearance and get out of there.
Yeah. Okay.
We also had a helicopter take him before that show. He had a helicopter take him from town C to D when the rest of us rode the bus, and we met him there because he was hurt, already hating the bus ride. See, he wanted to come back to WWE, and I totally believe that he thought if he did this tour that it would get his name out there. WWE would want to use him again. I really think that's what it was about. And man, when you're on 10-hour bus rides, you're not always going to be able to make it to the gym, and you're not always going to be able to eat the best food. And he wasn't looking for any of that shit. He was like, fuck that. I got to work out. If I can get me a helicopter there, I'll meet everyone else there after I, take care of me. And then he just, like I said, went home. Yeah. Yeah, and I fucking respect the monster that he is, and think that would have been a cool match for me to have under my belt that I really don't.
And it's neat too, like we just mentioned, you fight Nash back in the day. That's neat to kind of go back and like, wow, those guys crossed paths that early in their careers and stuff like that. And so that would be a neat kind of thing to have on there for sure. Another super chat. C Bonbon 1 $4.99. Thank you. He says, describe your first meeting with Tony Khan and being told he got you walk. Who on their roster has your attention in ring? Plus, who was the coolest to you backstage?
Okay, so my first meeting with Tony Khan is on the phone. Okay, He messaged me, hey Rob, this is Tony Khan. I'd like to talk to you about coming in. Didn't have dates or whatever, but that led to a phone call. And so, at first I'm like, whoa, like, is that really Tony Khan's phone number? I feel like I might have shown Matt Hardy. Like, I think I was with him or something. But anyway, the first time I talked to him on the phone, he's asking me what my rate is to work, what my deal is, with WWE, if I'd be interested in coming in, and I talked about the royalty agreement. They got me in these video games and action figures, and he's like, maybe you can come in, like, I got a lot of guys injured, maybe you come in like as I need you or something like that. I'm like, dude, let's talk, fucking A. And he said, I got this show coming up, I think September, and it's Grand Rapids. And he says, I think that'd be a great way to bring you in, being so close to hometown. I'm like, fucking A, man, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
So we talked, I think it was the week before the show, I believe. It was a pretty small window, and he's saying, I'll, he was kind of started talking like, kind of like a bird's flying away from a tree. It's getting further away. It was weird. Like here and then here and then. That's kind of how it felt like, because I'm like, all right, yeah, Grand Rapids would be awesome. All right, yeah, well, I'll talk to Travel, sounds like, I'd like to be able to do that. I'm like, okay, so we're doing it? So, yeah, I mean, I'll, let's, yeah. Is this happen? Should I count on? And he said, yeah, let's kind of count on this happening, and we'll, I'll talk to Travel, and, we'll get back to you and, confirm everything up. And I'm like, so it's not confirmed. Okay. See you. Didn't hear from him again. The show happened. Months went by, and I thought it was funny. WWE did a similar thing to me, like, oh, I think they were like, oh, you're available on the, I think it was the Royal Rumble. I'm not sure now exactly, because that would not be anywhere near the same time period as the fall that's in January. But there was something where they checked on a date. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's what it was. They checked on a date to see if I was available. I don't know if it was going to be with the idea in mind was an appearance or if it was a wrestling show or what. Don't know. But again, they didn't hear back from them either. So I was just like, you know what? It happens. It happens. Sometimes that's part of doing my JOB. And I'm not the guy that's going to be pounding on your door, like, hey, did you forget? I'm right here. We were talking. Did you, maybe you lost my number? Did you lose my number? Okay, I thought that maybe you might have lost my number, so I just want to make sure you had it. That's the opposite of me. So I'm going to be like, dude, if you want me, then you'll let me know. And so that's how that first one went. And then I didn't even talk to him again until after I was there, booked to work that angle with Jungle Boy, and actually saw Tony Khan and talked to him in person for the first time.
Yeah. Wow. So because I remember you saying like it seemed like something was going to happen starting off, and then there was a long hiatus of not happening. Boom.
That's why it's best to not have expectations, not believe anything until it really does happen. Otherwise, it's just talk, and that happens a lot.
A lot. I like it a lot. Who on the roster had your attention in the ring from AEW?
What roster?
AEW roster.
All the girls. They got
Go.
so many cute little girls there. I like looking at cute girls.
I like the girls.
Yeah, and they're nice. Everyone's like, so, not just the girls, but they're sweethearts. And the dude's very respectful and cool. Who's got my eye? I would really like to work with one of my peers that I've worked with before. When you put me up against a young new guy, they get a rub. It's a good chance for them. I can still roll with them. That's cool. But if we had, say, RVD versus Edge, RVD versus Christian, RVD versus Jericho, I've had some outstanding matches with all of those guys. And I have no doubt that if we were to get in the ring again, it would be fucking outstanding. And they wouldn't be one of the new young guys that doesn't quite follow the same rule book that I do. They change a few things, do a few things that wouldn't be acceptable before. They've adapted. Maybe they're going to want me to do a couple of moves that I think are stupid or don't make sense. I'm going to have to talk them out of it. This here is going to be like boom. Let's see what the experience that these guys have in their minds combined with the physical condition of RVD, that fucking specimen. And the other guys are still in working condition too. So I would really be stoked to have a chance to do something like that. 20 minutes, something, 15 at least, a long match with somebody from closer to my generation that I can be myself and can be the acrobatic one moving around them just like I always was. But we can fucking tell a great story that everyone understands. And man, I'll tell you what, I think that people would be blown away by the results of that. I really do.
Like Christian was just in the main event match against Swerve at the pay-per-view they had last time, Double or Nothing. And he's really been on his game as a great heel from a character standpoint, but he can still go in the ring too. So you guys, yeah.
I've always loved working with Christian. We've had some great matches. Swerve The match with Swerve is the best match I believe that I've had so far in AEW. That's because of Swerve and his style and it being hardcore, which automatically that's my element. Everybody knows that. So there was that. But nonetheless, I'm never warmed up. You know what I mean? Like every time I wrestle, that match is my warm-up match.
Right.
So everyone that's like, well, he's a little bit slower. Dude, if I was able to work Swerve like fucking 4 weeks in a row or something, forget about it. You ain't gonna be saying RVD's slower. Be fucking warmed up. And by the way, with these guys, it'd be great to work a program with Christian and or Edge and or Jericho. Let me throw the Hardy Boys in there as well. Fucking A, me and Jeff could fucking crush it. That'd be so awesome. Doesn't mean we'd have to pull off every single spot that we did before. And I know, that Jeff has shown a couple slippages, that I've seen with him doing some of his high-risk shit. Wouldn't even be a fucking problem.
Right, and to what you're saying too, how often is he warmed up? Because like they didn't use him too often in AEW. Like he would show up and have a match here and there, but like to what you're saying, it's like okay, you're just thrown right in the mix at this. But you have a match this week, you maybe not have a match next week, and so. But now there might be even a better chance that you could do it because I think Matt and Jeff now are in TNA. Jeff's a free agent now. He just showed up this past weekend at TNA, so. Who knows?
So how's that a better chance that I'll work with them?
Oh, I don't know. I think just TNA is really putting them on a bigger platform. They kind of fell into the back of it all. They weren't a prominent figure in AEW for a while. Like they were kind of on television and stuff like that. It seems like TNA is going to use them more. So I don't know if that might open up the thing for it or what.
And Jeff and Matt are both there?
They're both there. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Jeff just returned on Sunday or Saturday, whatever the pay-per-view was.
Oh shit. Okay.
So. Only a couple more super chats here. This is Voodoo Vic. Thanks for the $2. He's a regular here. He says, bring Mustafa back sometime. I love that episode. Yeah, it was a great one.
Cool. Yeah, definitely, man. Always loved Mustafa's vibe.
Yeah, he was a good dude. That's the first time I ever interacted with him too, and he was very easy to talk to. So.
Always got along with him. And he was always like mellow and non-dramatic, just like me. Very, very mellow and nowhere near, his partner will be like starting fights, with the crowd, yelling at people, screaming all the time, all amped up. Mustafa, so non-dramatic. He just wanted to chill and smoke. But he was also somebody that I always felt like if I had to have somebody watching my back, I always felt like Mustafa would be the fucking man that I'd want, right behind me if I did have to fucking
had to throw down,
fight, yeah, throw down,
Hey guys, last week we talked about fighting, legit fighting. Rob, that was part of RVD's RVDology. So. Go back and tune it. I actually clipped that up for YouTube. It's on RVDTV.com, so check it out now. It's a good one.
Talking about it's cool to be ready and be prepared and feel good about how your chances would be in something, but that's not the same thing as like looking for it, manifesting, bad shit to happen.
You're right.
I've been there so many times, drunk. Let me just say this on that.
Mm-hmm.
I love sharing these little stories because I got so many. I've been around for like 800 years, and I will never be able to tell all my stories between a weekly podcast, several books, other people's shit. Anyway, I was just thinking about since we're talking about last week, and people remember that's what it was about. I went to Jamaica when I was. In my funk, depressive, divorce, fucking drinking a lot in that era. Mm-hmm. And I brought a friend with me. I brought Steve, my friend, with me because I just had no one to go with me. And so anyway, we're at the beach. And, everyone's trying to sell you their weed and tell you that it's fucking chronic and it's the best when it's really bad weed. But anyway, everybody kept telling me, don't go down past that last hotel there because it's really rough and you'll get mugged.
Mhm.
And everybody said that, on the walk, because I was walking towards there, just walking, everyone, hey, where you going? And after a while, man, it just got me thinking, like, what the fuck? What is going to be down there? I mean, they got it built up so big that I'm thinking, I might be down for getting mugged tonight. What do I got to lose? Nobody loves me anyway. And so me and Steve he was like, all right, dude, and I was like, let's just go down there and check it out. A couple more people tell us that, and we just keep walking. And then we get to that last hotel that we're not supposed to pass. And I try to walk right past it down this dark sidewalk along the beach where it's not lit up to find out how I'm going to get mugged and shit. I was like, feeling myself, like, hey, I'll fucking karate their asses. Security guy comes out and stops us and says, do not go past this point. And I'm like, we're just walking on the beach, man. And he said, no, don't go down there. I'm 100% positive you will get robbed. And I was like, 100%. Yes, 100% positive. Don't go down there. They will rob you. And I'm like, but what if no, don't go down there. Go this way. And I was like, fuck, it's starting to sound, he's starting to make sense now. Like this guy's got me convinced now. What he's saying starting to make sense. It's like, all right, I guess fuck it. Let's turn around, go the other way then. I went like all the way down there, and that one guy saying, no, you can't go there 100%. Finally, I was like, well, I guess it'd be better to not get mugged. But that was the kind of mood that I was talking about last week, where you get the classes, you're feeling big, or you got the weapon, or you feel like anyone fuck with me, I'll reach in here and pull out this switchblade. Nah, probably not going to happen. Surprise is the strongest element of attack always. And, better to be passive. So I just wanted to throw that little piece of history on.
That's yeah, don't go certain farther down the Jamaican street there.
Stories.
Man, last night I went to a bar in Pittsburgh on the Strip District, which is kind of like the active area and stuff like that. It was just me and a buddy, and I went and get a beer, and I'm like leaning up against the wall, and like I put my beer and I go to the bathroom, I come back, and I go back to where I was standing. There's a guy just standing right by me. It's like,
your beer's gone.
No, my beer's still there.
Oh.
And like he kind of like is nudging up against me, and I'm like, "You all right?" And he was like I couldn't understand him. He was like, "Kind of move over," and I was like, "All right." And I was like, then he was like, "You're in my space." I was like, "Oh, I am." And I like turned my buddy. He says I'm in his space, and he was like, "Do you want to take this outside? We can take this outside." And
great thing, yeah.
This
guy's
like
so quick.
Yeah, he's like 50 or something. I was like, are you saying you want
Hey,
to
what's that mean? What's that mean, dude? I know a 53-year-old fucking what?
Well, yeah, but he did not look like you. Let me say that. Yeah, he did not look like you. But so I was like, are you saying you want to fight me? And he was like, no, I'm saying if there's a problem, we can take it outside. And I was like, well, dude, there's a lot of wall space here. I was like, I'm good. I was like, are you good? And he was like, yeah, I'm good. I was like, good.
Yeah, that's so funny, dude.
But I was trying to be cognizant of like, how do I kind of just stand my ground, but also just kind of like be passive about it in a certain way,
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I was going for. And
that was good though. You guys both did good, I think, because he was also kind of like, dude. I mean, I eat Josh's for breakfast, but if you feel like you got to prove something to yourself, we can do it.
Right. We can go if you want. So that was pretty, that was an interest. I like the bar because there's cheap beers, and I was never there before, but it was a good atmosphere. It was like, hey, you don't know what's going to happen. I like it. Okay. We'll close it out with this. This is somebody that just brought this up. I don't know if it's true or not. We might have to get YouTube Chris on it, or I'll have to try to do some research and figure it out by next week. But maybe you already know this, Rob. Alex Polizzi said, did you know you have the biggest current WrestleMania streak? You are 4-0. So you are the new Undertaker, Rob.
Yeah, I do know that.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not a very hard record to beat. It won't take people that long. I used to think they're going to bring me in now that they know that just so they can beat me, but it's only going to take 4 years. Someone can start from scratch and already tie my record.
Yeah, I
Right.
wonder who's close to you right now.
I don't know. I think it might be. No, I don't know if it's just me or my tie with somebody. I don't know, but
That's good. That's an interesting question. We'll have to
undefeated at 4 WrestleManias. I do know that.
Man.
I know that alleged fact.
Okay, that's the first. That's great. That's the first I heard of it. Well, cool, Rob. Did you want to do the RVDology? We had one that we're going to talk about. Regret. Did you have something planned, or do you want to wait?
I do. And also let me add that Joe Holland said that the outfit turned out awesome.
So
he airbrushed from the contest winner. But more on that soon, but just that he airbrushed it already. He said he might want to do some other ones too. Don't know. But, I like to mention that, especially to the person that's waiting for us to contact them, which let's do that next week. Talk about them and what we're going to send them and shit.
Hell yeah, let's definitely do that. Heck yeah. Well, cool. So yeah, we were talking about this one last week. Somebody wanted Rob to cover regret about RVDology and his RVDology segment. And so yeah, here you go, Rob. What do you got to say this week?
Yes, sir. All right. Well, spark them if you got them. Lighten up a fresh new doobie for this one. A lot of times I say I'm going to try and make this like really quick. This one's probably not going to be really, really quick.
That's all right.
There's kind of a lot we can talk about when it comes to regret. A lot of us regret a lot of different things. We live with it, whether it's an action that we took that we wish we wouldn't have taken, whether it's the void of an action that we wish we would have taken and we didn't. We wish we wouldn't have said that. We wish we would have made more effort. Endless amount of reasons to feel regret. So, what is regret? Well, let's think about that. What is the difference between regretting something and being sorry? Katie, I've always thought had a really quick way of forgiving herself. She would whatever something, boom, boom, boom. She does something, she'll say sorry, and then that's supposed to be it. And I remember one time saying, "What does that mean? Like, if you say that, doing the same thing 20 times in a day, are you really sorry? I mean, does sorry just mean, hey, I'm taking responsibility for it, so let's acknowledge that and move past that? Because not everyone's going to be able to do that. Or does sorry mean like I really deeply regret that I did that or that I said that and wish, I could go back in time and fucking not do it? Because that's a total different feeling than let's move past it. Sorry. When you think about it that way, regret has to be a little stronger than sorry. If you regret something, I think that means that you wish that this thing, this action didn't exist in your head, that this wouldn't have taken place, or like I said, or this void wouldn't have taken place if it was a non-action. So a lot of times it has to do with forgiving yourself, which I am not good at. I'm not good at forgiving myself. I think a lot of it comes from just being a perfectionist, wanting to improve so much that I hate my flaws. It drives me crazy. And it could be something stupid. I'm talking about Mayor LaGuardia and the LaGuardia Commission report where he wanted to legalize marijuana way back in the day. And if I did something, and I think I might have said it was 1947, and then I looked it up because I was like, wait, was it the same year that Bugsy Siegel got shot? And then I look it up, and then it's really 44. And then I'm like, ooh, and I hate myself, and I can't forgive myself, and I beat myself up over it because I said that on someone's podcast or whatever. And now I'm like somebody that thinks they're a fucking smart, but they're really a dumbass. And now I think that I come across, at least to myself, as being pompous, out there like a know-it-all, spitting out shut when I should keep my fucking mouth shut because I obviously don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. That's how I am on myself. And sometimes it's bigger things, sometimes it's bigger. I one time got pulled over for speeding, and I had some marijuana in the car, and that set the course of the rest of my fucking career. That cost me the ECW championship, the WWE championship, tens of thousands of dollars, fines, and forever I would be associated with marijuana, which for a lot of people, they automatically then think that you're a stupid hippie with the munchies, and they can discredit anything you say. Do I regret having the weed? No. I regret speeding. I was so careless back then. I didn't pay attention how fast I was going back then. I never did. I could look down and be like, oh shit, I'm going 95 miles an hour and at 60. I better slow down. I was completely careless. And I was careless with the weed. I remember letting the weed, it was a little moist, letting it dry on the dash in the sun. And I wasn't even driving. It was Nick Patrick. He was like, Rob, can you put that somewhere else maybe? I was like, no, dude, that's the perfect spot right there. The sun needs to hit it, needs to drop a little bit so we can break it up better. Again, careless and also, again, selfish. Like I was saying before, not thinking about others in that way. That's the way that I used to be. I regret speeding. You know what? If I was more careful and was speeding, you know what? I regret not just spraying the car with Ozium. We had it right there. As I'm pulling over, I thought he's going to see me if I spray or whatever. And I'm like, Sabu, I'm like, spray that Ozium. And so he's like trying to do it without, looking because they're watching us through the back window. Goes, shh, shh. And that's all he did. If he would have let out a good one, shh, I don't know. Ozium's pretty good. It might have killed the smell. We weren't smoking it. It was just so strong that he could smell it in the plastic bag in the center console. A good spray of Ozium, that might have fucking taken care of the problem. But we didn't think, then that's going to seem suspicious, right? So what? Well, we could have said, hey, Sabu farted, so I sprayed it. We weren't prepared. We were careless. That's what happened, Would I go back in time and change it? Fuck no, because then what about the rest of my life? Go back in time. That girl that I was talking about earlier, the Dennis Midian used to see before RVD came to Tampa. He was seeing this girl. And I think I knew that, or I knew they went out once or something. I don't know, but she's throwing it my way. I'm there to receive. I'm very young, very much a stupid, young, thoughtless. I don't know. I mean, a lot of girls would call someone a scumbag that just, when you're at that age and you try to just use people, try to bang as many girls as you can, try to get them to pay for the fucking dinner if you can. That's a big W. This was part of being at that stage in my career that I was going through. And I ended up living with the girl, moving in with her, and she caught feelings. Believe that? The motherfucker caught some feelings. I'm like, whoa, but I'm an asshole. Fucking everyone when you're at work. And we split up. We got back together. We split up, got back together. One of these times when we split up, she met somebody else. Now, her parents hated me because they knew I was no good for her. I'm 8.5 years younger than her. Well, 8 years. And at that age, like I said, where I'm just trying to get my dick wet, honesty, values like that I would one day learn to appreciate, hadn't crossed my mind yet. Sure, I was a good kid, but I wasn't the philosopher of RVDology that I am now. I had to learn to get where I'm at. So she meets this guy. They get engaged. Her parents love him. They're fucking perfect. He's going to take care of her. He's got money. They're going to be fucking great together. My ego couldn't handle that. Fuck that guy, man. He knew that I was seeing that. He was fucking working on that, and she knew what? He knew that she lived with me, or whatever it was. At that situation, I think she lived with me. We lived together, whatever the fuck. My ego couldn't handle it. I made her split up with him, get back together with me. And then, of course, it didn't last. And then her parents have to go through knowing that she just fucked up something good to get back with this scumbag. And shit, her old man passed away after that. And I was still a scumbag. I was a scumbag when she went to his funeral. And I was still in that, hey, single fucking weekend for me. Asshole. I regret being that person. Do I regret? Fuck yeah. I regret her not letting her and that dude just fucking live the life that they probably deserved to, that they could have had. I can't lose sleep over it. Would I go back in time to change it? No. I learned from it. I hate that version of me. I recognize that version of me in so many of my peers, especially in young men that are in their early 20s. Like I said, it was part of the stage of my career that I was at. Some people are still going through that. And, you know, your values change with experience, and your perspective changes. It has to if you grow. But, you know, I look back, and that's something like, yeah, I regret fucking not just letting her and that dude and their families be happy together. But my ego wanted justice. Fuck that. All right. My evil ex. I regret not telling her to fuck off. The very first date that I was with her, I had this car, and I remember when I went to pick her up, I went to get in the driver's side, and she was just standing there giving me this dirty look. Don't even know this bitch. Like, I just met her at the strip club that she was dancing at, and this is our first date, and she's looking at me, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on, so I open up my door, and she goes, and she rolls her eyes and gets in because she thought that I should go around and open up the door for her. This is the very first date, first time I'm picking her up. Why didn't I pay attention to all the warning signs and dump that bitch right then? Instead, I married her. Even though there was so much drama always, she never trusted me always. She fucking cheated on me always. Fucking lived by her own rules. And let me tell you something. I've gotten screwed over a lot, you know, lost money, comic book store, fucking even making comics got screwed over by people, got screwed over by Tony Vela, my assistant. Fuck you, Tony Vela. Got screwed over by Justin and Jesse by paying themselves and lying to me about it the whole time we did the RVD CBD. And those motherfuckers, I had them at my wedding.
Wow.
Do I regret having them there? I mean, prospectively, yeah, I wish that wouldn't have happened, but I don't regret making the decision that I did, because when I'm committed all the way until I'm not committed anymore. So that means I respect my own name, my own self that much. If you got RVD on your team, well, I think that should come with certain perks. until I'm not there anymore. If I suspect you're fucking me or you're not paying me quite enough or whatever, I'm not going to Tony Vela it and start stealing from you. No, for me, it's like if you got me, boom, you got a fucking hard worker. You got someone that's going to give it all you got. Someone books me to wrestle, boom, fuck yeah, I'm going to fucking give it everything. I'm going to fucking, no problem, I'll do a shout out, a video for you. Fuck yeah, of course I'll tweet it. And you know what? I'll even like your posters on the future shows. I'm not there anymore because you brought me in as part of your team. I think that this should come with the package. And for me, that's why I don't regret that when I was with certain relationships, I still gave it my all. Even though I was getting fucked in the ass, blindsided, and having people shred everything that I was earning. And let me tell you something. If you haven't been divorced, there's no deal unless you're getting physically paralyzed. There's no fucking over worse than a divorce. Because these motherfuckers, after making the commitment to for the big lifelong plan, they spend all of your money and then charge you a tax for doing it. And then that tax is your future money that you got to pay them because they spent all of your money. And then with mine, although the fucked up law entitled her to so much, that wasn't enough. So she had to throw in a bunch of lies and make her side of the story an attack as well. So even if I thought we were going to amicably fucking go our separate ways, she thought otherwise. And so on the papers, I'm a drug addict, I'm a porn addict, et cetera, et cetera. It's been a long time since I've looked at the papers, but I think you get it. That's why she's my evil ex and always will be. Fuck the evil that you could do to somebody like that. After you spend all the money that they make, then you split everything with them and then get them to pay you on top of that for your future off of shit that they didn't even fucking make. It's a pretty fucked up situation. Do I regret it? Do I regret being married to her? Well, prospectively, like I said, I regret ever fucking letting her in my car. But overall, in the big picture, I wouldn't go back in time and change it. You know why? Because if I hadn't been with her, I wouldn't have the tools that I have today. I wouldn't know how to treat Katie and how to make a relationship actually work. I wouldn't know that without all the experience that I had before. And so when you have a hard time with regret, you have to know, man, things worked out the way they were supposed to. And even though that may seem a little bit cliche, possibly, depending on if you've heard this many times before or not, things happen for a reason. They fucking do. They fucking do. And if I hadn't gone through all the pain, even though it cost me everything, I basically set my life on fire and started over. I'm doing fucking fantastic. And this time around, I'm paying attention to what I love about life, what brings the quality of life up more. Not worried so much about compromising by doing things I don't want to do and giving more and more and trying to make shit work that ain't going to work, like putting a fucking square peg into a fucking round hole. It just ain't going to work if you got the wrong combination. So if you're dealing with regret and you want to know how you can deal with it, you have to really, I think, get with the plan of you wouldn't be where you're at right now. And you could be somewhere really much worse off. Sometimes you can see where you need to be. I know now that by staying completely committed and faithful to some nasty bitch that hated me when she totally wasn't ever to me, that proved to me that I have that inside of me. And if I respect myself enough and respect those values and want to fit those values of being honest, genuine, faithful, all that shit, I knew it'd be easy to fucking offer this upgraded package to Katie when I met her. I remember when Phelan and Augusta was getting married, and I was so young, and I was, but how do you know that you're never going to want to be with another girl again? He's like, oh, I love her. We have that relationship. But how do you know? He's like, well, but how do you know? He finally said, well, I guess you never do know. And I was like, fuck marriage. That's it. See, you don't know. How could you get married? Being older, being more experienced, having the bigger picture, those feelings did not stay at all. I know so much about me because of all the experience that I went through. All right. And it all had to happen in the way that it did, in order for everything to turn out the way that it did, in order for me to be right here, you know? So, hold on a second.
Yep.
I'm gonna see if I can bring myself to yeah, let's do it. It's for the RVD fam, right? So my dad's not around anymore. Today's Father's Day. All right, this one's gonna hurt. So he had a stroke, and then like his left side of his body, he lost the use to. And so like his last several years, it was hard to understand what he was saying. He was always in therapy. He's in and out of the healthcare all the time. Like sometimes he gets to come home and then something happens and he falls. He goes back to the hospital. Boom, 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 boom. One of the times when he was home, and I was there visiting, he and I were at the community swimming pool, which is good for somebody like that therapeutically because you weigh less in the swimming pool. And because of this, I kept trying to get him to come out to the deeper side of the shallow end, because then he would be able to balance better, you know, because he was in the shallow part. I kept saying, Dad, you know, come out here. It'll be easier. You'll be lighter. You'll be able to balance more. And he wouldn't do it. And I didn't know why. I kept going out there, and okay, he's not following me. I go back over to him and talk, see if he can get me to follow him over there. And he wasn't telling me why, but he wasn't coming over there. And I said, maybe if I just go over there and stand over there where it's a little bit deeper, just, 20 feet away from him, maybe he'll follow me over there, while we're hanging out. So I go over there. My dad falls and he's panicking, and he's got one arm doing the panic, going for air. And, I have to close this distance now because I wasn't by him. By the time I got him and I grab him and I pull him up, he is very fucking traumatized. He thought he was going to die. You know what I mean? He's gasping for air. Dad, I was trying to get you going the deeper so you wouldn't do that. I find out he wasn't going over there in the deeper because the sun was shining over there. He wanted to be in the shade. I looked, he's right. I didn't even notice that, but this is shady and it's sunny over there. Okay, so now I get it. But now he, his day is ruined. He's breathing hard. He's scared to fuck. I'm trying to calm him down, get him out of the pool and everything. Well, the next time he goes into the hospital, he never came back out. And he stayed in the system. I remember one of the times he was about to be released, but he couldn't because he had this scrape on his foot that got infected. And he got that at that moment in the pool. And so he couldn't be released because this was infected, and then he got MRSA. And then he had kidney disease and diabetes, all this shit going on with him. And, he didn't come back home. and he passed away in healthcare. So when I look at that, just that whole moment, which I probably never talked to anybody before about, but I like being honest and genuine. Happy Father's Day, Dad. Man, I wish that I would have stayed close to him so that he wouldn't have had to have that really scary moment, scraped his foot, and I didn't get it. I just thought he doesn't understand. Like, he's not going to fall, but he's up in the deeper end. But he's going to fall where it's shallow. It's too, and I get it. The sun was bothering him, and anyway, I kind of regret that, making that choice to. And here's the thing, I think. And by the way, when he left, that during that day anyway, he said to me before this happened, while we were in the pool, he let me know he was ready to go. He's like, I wonder if it's worth it anymore. Dad, what do you mean? We love you. We need you. Him telling me that is what made it easier to deal with when he did pass. And he was not enjoying life when he passed. He was having a hard time breathing. All kinds of shit. So it made it a lot easier to know that he was going, just that he had his life, he was fulfilled, and he was ready to go. Man, without that, when it's something different, like getting my 4-year-old dog put to sleep so she can get her teeth cleaned and then she just doesn't wake up, something like that, it was so unexpected and surprising and painful. And then something else where it's like, I get it. In some ways, I get where, he's ready. Totally different circumstances. And what I think is that people can look and say, well, Rob, don't blame yourself. It's a lot easier to do that talking about somebody else than it is yourself. So keep that in mind. If you're having a hard time forgiving yourself, think about what you might tell you if you weren't you and you were someone just listening to the story like y'all are right now of me telling my story. Forgive yourself the way that you think I should forgive myself. Yeah, that was rough.
Thanks for sharing that, Rob, man.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Oof.
Yeah, man. No, and that's what the person asked last week was about losing somebody early and not doing what they wanted or getting their moments with that person, I think it was. And so, yeah. Oh, man, Rob, thank you for sharing, man. It's tough stuff.
I tell a lot of my peers this, when it comes to losing their parents, man, you got to be thankful that it happened in the right order, because so many of my friends have made their parents fucking put them in the ground. And it's not supposed to go in that order. I always feel so bad for the parents having to do that to their children, bury them. It's not supposed to happen that way. I resent some of the actions that could have been avoidable when my friends are doing this. And so I find some gratification in that, in allowing the natural order to happen the way that it does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, I'm sure you've heard it several ways too. And you're just, thinking for your dad's best efforts in that situation too. And, it's tough. Like, anything that comes up, and you're like, oh, this could have been different or that could have been different. It's just like, it could have, but that's just the way things happen for a reason.
It never will be different. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, what's the expression? God give me strength to have courage to change that which I can, and the wisdom to know when I can't. I think I left something out. Wisdom to know the difference. Give me the strength to make changes. Give me the strength to make changes, the courage to realize when I can, and the wisdom to know when I can't. I don't know. Whatever it is, you get it, right? I mean, you can't change it. You can't change it no matter how much you try to go back in time. So that is really not that healthy and productive of a thing to do, is to try to manifest the past to be different. So, you know, if you can't find the W in today that was apparent because of the past, then just have faith that it's there whether you see it or not. Maybe you'll see it, maybe you're living it. But today's W's are all from everything that we've been through to get here.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can feel regret, but like you don't regret what you're learning from those instances that come through.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh man. Guys, Seth wanted to chime in. He gave a $50. He said it hit me almost.
I knew fucking letting one roll would work.
Yeah. Hey, heck, you do a good job, man. It's tough to speak on, you know.
This really, all right. Synchronicity, right? I'm going right back to the fucking trailer that we're all dressing in Thailand. All right.
Okay.
Did I tell you that we were told the death was, or penalty was death?
Yes.
And we're still smoking. Like, Andrew's got this great story, Bernarski, when he scored the weed, because we scored it from the tuk-tuk drivers, from the bicycle taxis. Hey, you got the weed? They took him to like the middle of a downtown block. It was like a jungle in the middle, carved out from all the buildings, like a outside center. And they took him into this hut. And he said there was this dude that was like obviously like the ruler, the godfather, whatever, at a table. And he said all these weapons, axes and stuff were all placed with a rope around the top of the wall all the way around so they could grab it in a hurry or whatever. And he had to go through all of this just to buy some nasty ass fucking weed. But then once he did, he shared with me, and then I bought from the tuk-tuk drivers, but they had it on them. Anyway, the reason that I went back to there is that there was some really big dudes on that set. Tyler Maine, you know, he's really tall. And another dude that's like 6'10". What's his name? He was in Land of 1,000 Corpses, the Rob Zombie movie.
Oh, let me look.
Played the really big, tall dude. He was in wrestling a little bit.
Is it Nathan Jones?
No. I can't remember this guy's name right now, but anyway, he was annoying to be around. You know, I guess Tyler has a story where I passively told him, let's step offside the bus here and and I'll show you how big I am right now, because I'm 6 foot, and he was getting all cocky. And I did a Bad News Brown like did to Andre the Giant one time, and I was like, let's step outside right here and we'll find out right now. And he's like, well, are you some kind of badass or something? Just like with Josh. I was like, let's just go out here. I'll show you. But he really was annoying. He was really, 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 really annoying. And one of the things that he said that was really annoying is he was talking about Michael Clark Duncan, who had just gotten an Oscar, I believe, for his role in The Green Mile. And he was trying to convince everyone that would listen to his stupid ass that it was just a big guy part and that anybody could have done that. And he said that the reason that he got the Oscar was because he cried. He was like, you know why I got that, right? You let one roll. That's it, man. You let one roll. That's all you got to do. And it was so annoying to deduce Michael Clark Duncan's acting performance and his body of work to just that. It was so annoying. But it was so relevant right now. We're talking about Thailand and talking about that. He was one of the ones that didn't like to smoke. And then here we are, fucking I let one roll and Seth dropped $50. So it was very relevant.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I guess he was right. Michael Clark Duncan couldn't act. He could have been him. He's like, why couldn't I have that part, man? I'm not afraid to cry in front of people. I fucking do. You know how much you got paid? Like, he's so annoying.
Well, is this the guy's name? Robert Allen Muke.
Yes, his name. I always forget people when their name is Robert. I always do. For some reason, Katie always jokes and says that I think I can be the only Rob. For some reason, I'm like, as soon as someone tells me their name is Rob or Robert, I always fucking forget it. Yeah, Robert Dukes. Pukes, we called him. Pukes. What's his name? What was his name? Dukes?
Robert Allen Mooks.
Mooks, yeah. I called him Pukes. Yeah, he had a good heart, but oh my God, so annoying. So
annoying. Jeez, Robert. Yeah, but Seth, he said, it hit me almost as hard as when you got pulled over. I quit watching wrestling until 2020. You're my hero, and I couldn't cope that happening to you. Things like that happened with my music career, too, and it changed everything. It's hard, man.
Yeah, so I would like to think overall in the big picture, I don't believe that I do live with regret. I can take that perspective, you know, that's a strength that I wish a lot more people had because they're so non-empathetic because they can't even imagine being someone else's point of view when they're the ones fucking splashing a mud puddle at them and can't even imagine, you know, like you wouldn't appreciate that if you're the other person. But I can always look at and take different angles of how I could see things and definitely, you know, pick a part that's like, man, that's really too bad that happened instead of that. But overall, I don't live with regret. It comes from making the right decision the first time, a lot of experience, you fuck up a lot, and then eventually you learn when you're making these choices, you want to make the right choice so that you don't regret it. Take care of yourself by doing that ahead of time, by getting your RVDology, by using common sense, by learning what you can, doing whatever you can to help you make that right choice. And that totally 100% is the intention behind me doing these every week, is to use my experience, my values, and the things that I use to help me make the right decisions and share them with you.
Yeah. And damn, it's good job. And it's like, it's very beneficial. Gem the Dawn says, thanks for the $5. He says, missing my pops too. It's been 3 years. Thanks, RVD, for being here for me for the last year. Plus, I have no idea how much it helps to have your wise words on. So awesome stuff. Thank you.
I'm going to think that he means I have no idea, because if he has no idea, then basically he's saying he wonders how many other people I'm helping too. Like maybe he's saying, I have no idea how much it helps to have your wise words on, because other people could be really helped or not. I have no idea. Is that what he's saying?
I think you're right. I think he means you have no idea how much.
Yeah, that damn you and I are right by each other.
Right there. Tricky on this keyboard. I know that. Yeah. Somebody chimed in with a out of left field question. Real quick, we'll cover this. Barry MK, $405. Hey, Rob, do you have anything to say on your match with Hardcore Holly in 2006? The one where Holly's back goes into the table. Do you remember that?
I do remember it, and I was excited about working with Hardcore Holly because he's so stiff and unforgiving with his work, and I would see that. And if it was a WWE match, I wouldn't really enjoy that. You know what I mean? Maybe you hear that I'm snug, whatever. If I was wrestling a match with Bob Holly and he's being super snug, you know, I'd probably, I would be myself, whatever. But it's like when you're on the receiving end of that, sometimes it's not the most fun at night. Like, for instance, Alberto Del Rio used to like this thing where he like smacks you across your head, you know, come on, get up. You know what I mean? And you know, that tells a story. But if you can imagine, while someone is doing that to you, it's not necessarily very pleasant. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So there's things like that, or you know, or do that to your hair, or you know, chop you, choke you, smack you across the head, any of that. If someone's just getting that kind of abusive, punk you around kind of heat, maybe not that fun. That's all I'm saying. And but since the match was ECW style and not a WWE style, I had such a different perspective. I had so much pride in ECW, and I was so fired up. I was so excited that I got to be ECW RVD, and that meant that I was looking forward to him being snug with me. I was looking forward to giving it right the fuck back, and for us to to use that foundation to have this fucking match that we were going to have. It was going to be very, very physical. I love it that way, especially when I'm fighting for something I really believe in, which is ECW, which is me being the main nucleus of ECW, which is me giving the crowd what they would expect to see from an ECW kind of match. So I'm pulling it all out. And you better believe me, man. You fucking nail me a couple times, whether it's a chop, punch in the face, whatever. I'm going to give you a couple back, and enjoy it. And fucking, let's go. Let's keep going. Let's escalate. Boom. And that was the passion that I had for ECW. Not as much when I'm telling a WWE story, I gave it everything I had, but sometimes I wasn't as excited about just going out there and being like, okay, babyface gets some shine, and then the heel gets some heat, and then try and, get everyone behind you and shit, do a comeback, if I could. Sometimes the monotony of that would feel a lot more like a JOB than having the chance to go out there in the spotlight, be the man I want to fucking be, and that's the whole fucking show. So I loved wrestling with Bob Holly, and it's funny that people blame me for that because he was the one, if I remember right, that suplexed me off the apron through the table, and then the trimming around the table sliced through his back, and he had to get stitches.
Yeah. I remember that always being on the "Don't try this at home" opening is like bloody back.
Yeah. It was cool. I liked it. It was cool because, I'm sure it hurt, but of course Bob's not going to stop. There's no fucking way Bob or me or anybody that's like-minded from the same time period that, is proud of their product that much. No way someone like that is going to stop no matter what, no matter what happens in the match. So
yeah, right. That's the name of the game, man. That's the name of the game.
Yeah.
A lot of people giving good feedback on the RVDology. So people shared. Jay said his dad just passed away last year of a heart attack in his sleep, and he was only 52.
Condolences, everybody.
Absolutely. Part of the journey, great RVDology. Seth said something very nice too. He said, I lost my dad in 2018. Happy Father's Day. Everyone missing somebody. And then Clown13420 says, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Thank you. I love that. Have my whole life. And, apply that exactly as it is when you're having a hard time with fucking regret.
Absolutely. And then Seth chimed in. I forgot his super chat earlier, and he reminded me. So let me get that. He says, RVD, I saw you on Instagram. You're going back to the JV Mall. We were there for RVD Day in 2000. You signed my boy's Pedro's chef jacket. He became a big-time hotel chef in Sweden, and it still has the jacket framed.
Sweet. Okay. All right. Well, so yeah, this is going to be July the 7th. I'm pretty sure. You can check out appearances at robvandam.com. It's updated. But June 6th is, if I have the dates right, which I'm 95% I am, June 6th is Montreal Comic Con. But then on the 7th, I'm going to be in Westchester Theater. Not Westchester Theater, Westchester, New York. But I'm going to drive by and check out the Westchester Theater, which was put together with and owned by Mob Money. Lots of history there. So hopefully, I don't even know if it's still there, really. I guess I'll look that up before July 7th.
Yep, I'm taking a look right now. July 6th, Montreal, Canada. Yep, July 7th, Yorktown Heights, New York. You're going to be
cool. And this weekend, I will be in Jackson, Mississippi.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and guess what else is, guys, is that A&E biography with RVD coming up, too.
Yeah, so check this out. Saturday and Sunday, I'm at the Jackson, Mississippi Comic Con, and then Sunday evening, A&E Bio on RVD will air. And so I'm thinking about maybe tweeting or something like, who's in Jackson, Mississippi that knows of a good place? You know, we can have like maybe a viewing party or something. I don't know how many followers I have in Jackson, Mississippi, but that's my thoughts, dude. That's what I'm thinking.
That would be cool as shit. That'd be cool as shit. Yeah, we'll have to. I'm
I
excited
would
to check
like
that
to
one
see
out.
it. I would like to watch it.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I think we covered everything. Oh, Fresh Turner just gave us $1, so thanks, Fresh Dave, for chiming in. I know he's been busy in the chat too, so we appreciate everybody in here. And man, this was a good show.
My dad passed in 2016, and if you don't know, it was like part of a big clusterfuck of depressing things happening because I just got separated. So now I'm in this big lonely house with just the dog. The dog dies unexpectedly, as I mentioned, from getting her teeth cleaned. And then Witch the Evil X went and did that when I was out of town for my birthday. She went and had the dog put down for my birthday, not intentionally, but, you know, put to sleep for the dental work. And that was my birthday surprise. And then shortly after that, then Dad passed. And so that was like rock bottom for me going through depression. That is what led to me getting medicated and talking to psychiatrists, psychologists and psychiatrists. You know, they prescribe the meds. They talk to you, you know, about giving you tools to work with, coping for life and stuff like that. But, you know, a lot of people can relate to this whole mental health thing. So I just sharing, I am a believer in the meds. This one, like I knew, like, soon as I started thinking about talking about it, and I was like, okay, give me a second.
Yeah.
I already knew I was going to cry.
Right.
But around in 2016, during this time, I wouldn't know. I would have no idea. I'd just be talking to somebody, and then all of a sudden, like, boom, I would just start crying, and I didn't even know it was coming. And that's when, you know, and people were like, you might want to try some meds, you know.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it's a chemical imbalance when it happens like that, out of your control, when you don't want it to happen. And sometimes that's all it takes is a little fucking counter chemical imbalance to fucking get your balance straight. And as we know, it's all about balance.
It is all about balance. Balance, everything, moderation, plus making sure your whole life is in order when it comes to everything, doing eating right, sleeping okay, socializing, getting sunlight, doing all that kind of stuff, exercise. It's all important. And then somebody else just chimed in with another super chat. The Dark Knight returns. Thanks for the $5. Hey, RVD, on July 3rd, I'll be 7 months alcohol free. I've started boxing since January 3rd of 2024. Went down 216 pounds to currently 160 pounds. Wow. Thanks for the entertainment. That's great.
Fucking hey, yeah. Congratulations on everything, dude. That's fucking awesome.
That's some great changes too, and you got to feel positive about that stuff because that's
right. Yeah, and you know, if you guys, Van Dam fam, if you get enough RVDology in you, you'll learn to have the perspective that we're all different. We all have our own values, and so liking somebody or approving of somebody doesn't necessarily have to do with them sharing all the same values as you, because you know what? Nobody except you shares your exact combination and potion of values. Only you. That's what makes you one of a kind. It makes you very unique. So, you know, when you hear about something and people are excited about it, even if it isn't something that you would be excited about, you know, this guy is proud that he quit drinking alcohol. Maybe I like to have alcohol. And, you know, some people, it's their instinct to just be like, dude, whatever. I like to have a beer. It ain't even about that, man. It's about somebody that to them, this is important. That should be enough. If you want to break it down even further, it's somebody that they set a goal, they worked at it, they've achieved it, they've shown that they have discipline, and that, boom, you should be proud of them for that. But on the simplest terms, the way that I said it the first time, if something's important to somebody else, try to let that be enough, whether it's your girlfriend, your kids, a stranger. I mean, you don't have to, and I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm just saying that I appreciate the way that I fit into the universe a lot more like that, by celebrating people's cheers and feeling more like it's a collaboration instead of feeling like it's competition, and instead of feeling like I got to judge everybody by the values that I chose for me. Someone else says, like I said, hey, I'm trying to be a good person. I'm trying to not swear. For me, like, I could be like, well, that's dumb. Why does swearing make you not a good person? They're not. They're just saying, like, hey, man, I'm working on myself, and I'm making some progress. And you know what? Boom. If it's important to you, that's enough to fucking be proud of you. Say go for it. Fucking keep crushing it. And that makes it important to me too.
Right? Yeah. That's it, man. Keeps you motivated. It keeps you going. It's good stuff. I'm glad that we get some good people here chiming in and giving some input and their feedback on everything. We really appreciate it here. And guys, if you appreciate stuff, be sure to like, share, comment the word out about the show. Tell us what you want to hear, or certain things that you guys want to hear too, and we'll be happy to get feedback and all that stuff. We're always game for that. So you can go to rvdtv.com. You'll catch this episode every Monday at 4:20. It drops there. Be sure to subscribe to RVD's YouTube channel at The Real RVD. And guys, also check out OneTrueSportTV.com. That's the new umbrella that One of a Kind with RVD is under. We got several other podcasts on there and try to get the word out about that. We got sweet merch. RVD merch is available on there. You can look at that. The T-shirt, I love it. It's one of my favorite ones that I've gotten made. So check that one out. And hey, don't forget RVD420.com. That's with the bongs and glassware that have been made too. And there's some really cool ones there.
And they're, by the way, I got word that they're adding a bunch of new product to the line real soon as well.
That's awesome. So yeah, here's some quick visuals on them. You can go to rvd420.com and purchase one of those now. They're awesome looking. Even just a great piece to have if you're a collector of that stuff. So take a look, see. And cool. Rob, this has been a good one. I've loved it, and I appreciate you sharing what you did and everything like that. And a lot of people have.
Call me a crybaby?
Oh no, not at all. It's good to cry. It's good to let out a cry. Sometimes I like it.
I wasn't crying. I just smoked a joint with Paul Heyman.
It's just hot in here. That's all.
You know that he said that. Don't you remember him saying that at One Night Stand?
No, I don't remember.
The fans get it. They get it.
They get it.
He said, "I'm not crying. I was just smoking a joint with Van Dam."
Oh, Paul Heyman said that's right. Paul Heyman said that. Yeah.
Now you're with me.
Now I'm with you. Oh yeah, he said it at the Hall of Fame. Okay.
Hey, I never. Yeah. I didn't think about the connection, except that it was still, a relevant thing to say if he wants to put me over. But yeah, you can also look at it as paying tribute to the One Night Stand.
That's it. Yeah. How about that?
Yeah.
Full circle. Synchronicity. All right,
Yes,
guys.
sir.
We'll see you next week here on One of a Kind.
All right, cool. And this week we did a special Sunday live of it. So we'll probably be back on Thursday, like in just a few days, huh?
Just a few days. Yeah, we'll be going live then too. So
Cool.
be on the lookout, guys. We'll keep you posted, and we'll see you next time here on One of a Kind.
I got some shit I'm going to be saving for that.
Ooh,
Thanks,
yeah.
Van Dam fam. Thanks, Dom.
You're welcome.
Peace out, hoes.
Peace up. 8-Town down. Woo!